As the sun slid from the sky, Lark pressed her back into the pockmarked cliff on the island's west shore. The sea stretched before her like an indigo coverlet, a great many foam-flecked waves tossing gannets about. A south wind tore at her unbound hair, waving it like a crimson flag, as crimson as the fine cloth she'd seen smuggled ashore the previous night. These free trading times were steeped in danger. Countless moonlit liaisons and trysts, sand-filled shoes, and sleepless nights. How oft she'd prayed an end to it all. On this breathless May eve, the only aggravation was the sting of tiny midges as night closed in, and the thick-set Gillian Brodie as she bumped into Lark and nearly sent her off the cliff's edge.
"Look smart, aye. There's tacksmen about."
"Oh, I pray not," Lark breathed, craning her neck to take in the sweeping coastal headland that could only be called majestic. She wouldn't tell Gillian that she was more addle-pated about the handsome captain of the Merry Lass than the chancy smuggling run, and that she braved the midnight hour to gain but a glimpse of him or his ship.
"You're not out here for the same reasons as the rest of us."
Gillian managed to stand akimbo, hands fisted on her ample hips, despite the path's ribbon-like lip.
"What's this I hear about you refusing to help bring in the whole?"
"My conscience smote me," Lark told her.
"I cannot be in the business of stealing, even if it bitters the poor."
"Hoot!" Gillian spat the word out as the night wind began a queer keening, lifting the edges of their plaid shawls.
"Your fellow islanders are not so high and mighty. Be off with you then."
The dismissal, though said in spite, was gladly heeded. Lark turned and hastened away, stepping ably along the path, though 'twas nearing midnight. Darkness didn't fall till late, which left precious little time for the free traders to do their work in the smothering safety of night. Tense, she climbed upwards, casting a glance over her shoulder at the beach now and again. But this long, miserly eve brought no goods ashore, nor a handsome captain home again, and so she entered the wee cottage no bigger than a cowshed, its humble stone her home since birth. Only she and her granny fussed with the peat fire and kept a simmer the kettle of porridge or soup, which always seemed to taste of smoke. She washed up before donning a worn nightgown, then all but fell into the box bed, exhausted. Early the next morn she trudged through the mist to Kerrera Castle, glad she was to have gotten even a snatch of sleep. Once on castle grounds, she quashed the urge to steal into the walled garden and drink from the spring that bubbled forth in a stony corner. Like ice the water was, even in the heat of summer. Most servants weren't allowed in the formal garden. Kerrera's mistress did not like the help to be seen. Her fragile constitution could not bear it. The glorious bower was reserved for Lady Isla and Kerrera's infrequent guests. Bypassing humble beds of herbs in the kitchen garden, Lark came to the beloved bee garden. Here she could stay content forever. Against one ivy-clad bricked wall were numerous bee skeps. Made of thick coils of straw, they were fashioned into golden domes, a wee door at the bottom of each. Even now their inhabitants hummed a lively tune, already at work among enticing calendula and borage, awaiting a feast of bee balm and snapdragons and cosmos in summer. Come August, she would take a hive or two into the heather, making the coveted heather honey of which the laird was so fond. Her gaze swung to the bee bath she'd created years before, a chipped, shallow dish for fresh water. Beach pebbles were scattered about for the busy creatures to perch on while drinking, lest they drown. Their droning seemed to intensify with her coming. The bees sensed her, their singing rising and falling as she moved among them. They did not favor everyone, merely tolerating the head housekeeper, yet circling the maids benignly. But they stung cook in a fury. The laird of Kerrera Castle moved calmly and respectfully in their midst, much like Lark. Both of them spared the piercing pain. She'd always wondered about their reaction to Lady Isla, but the laird's wife rarely ventured near the bee skeps. Seeing all was well, at least in the gardens, Lark turned toward the castle.
"There ye be, Lark."
Was she tardy? Mistress Baird, the stern housekeeper, never greeted her, only made her feel guilty.